Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. So in this reading, I'm seeing the energy of salvation and deliverance. So salvation pretty much meaning, that you were delivered from some type of consequence that may have been connected to a sin. When I say sin, I'm talking about anything that you did that was outside of your highest good or anything that moved against your highest good, okay? And so there was something that you were involved in, and the thing that you were delivered or saved from was a Two of Cups situation. So this was a partnership, doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. However, this situation was sanctioned to turn very unpleasant for you specifically. And so when we're talking about salvation, to be saved and to be delivered from harm's way, that really can only come from the Most High, right? And so for some reason, not for some reason, you know who you are. However, the Most High saw fit that you must be preserved from harm, ruin, or loss that was due to come to you by way of a Two of Cups situation. So let's talk about this partnership. Doesn't have to be romantic. Listen, Two of Cups means you have a cup, I have a cup. Now, in my cup, this is what I'm offering you. And in your cup, this is what you say you're offering me. We agree. We put our cups together. We drink from each other's cup. It's just an agreement that you both are offering something that you agree is worth receiving. Got it? So something about this situation, in order for you to be saved or delivered, meant that whatever you agreed to, whatever you offered in your cup, right? Whatever you thought you were about to drink from the other cup, something about what was in that other cup was to bring you harm. It was to ruin you. It was to force you into a period or a phase of loss. Now, judgment came true in this situation when you decided to self-sacrifice. We have the energy of the hangman. And so imagine you're in school, you're causing trouble. What happens? You get a pink slip. You're in suspension. You have to sit in timeout. You got to think about your behavior. You got to go sit down, try again another time. Now, when you decided to look at this situation, turn yourself upside down, figure out what were you missing? What is it I'm not seeing, right? And so being in the hangman position, when you choose to put yourself in this space, this is you recognizing that there's something you're not seeing clearly. You need to figure out how to better achieve or gain enlightenment, okay? When you turned the situation upside down, when you investigated the person, when you investigated the details of the connection, whether you did this privately to self or you actually asked these questions aloud to the other person just to get clarity or just to get a better understanding, doesn't matter. The only thing you had to do in this situation was to turn it upside down and look at it again. This situation was a test. Now, the reason why you were delivered is because, quite honestly, you were supposed to accept the cup. You were always going to be delivered, but you needed to accept the cup. There are certain situations where you have to walk into harm's way, right? Not because you will be harmed, but because the closer you are to whatever the threat is, the better you can investigate it, the better you can understand it, the better you can decode, decipher, the better you can break it apart, right? Sometimes you got to get right up on shit to see what it is, okay? And so that's what this situation is. Your protection, you're covered. Right? You're never not going to be covered. You have the best insurance plan on earth. Okay? And so it covers you even when you literally have walked into the devil's den. Now, this is a situation called wealth versus wisdom with this person. Now, when you agreed to drink from this person's cup and also to offer them theirs, you thought that this was a situation where it would bear fruit, it would grow, there would be prosperity, there would be abundance, right? However, when you put yourself in the hangman position, you immediately called judgment because you displayed wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is applied knowledge. What is knowledge? Something that you've learned over a period of time. Knowledge is not just something that you've learned, but it's something that you've learned so well to the point where it's automatic. It is just something that it almost seems innate. It's just naturally in you, right? It naturally flows from you. Right? And so here's the thing. In this situation, you were supposed to get too close. Maybe you got bit. Maybe you were supposed to get bit, right? The delivery was always going to come. Okay. And so in the event that there was a situation that you feel that you put yourself in harm's way, there was something that you had to see, but you needed to be at a proximity that just had you right up on them. Okay. So when you put yourself in this hangman position, you were like, oh, this thing ain't growing. There's no wealth here. Something about this is off, right? It is when you started to question and apply knowledge, which means whoever came to you in this Two of Cups relationship or partnership, whatever was offered to you, you have been in situations like this before. And one of the reasons why you were able to apply wisdom is because you started to ask yourself questions. Why is this off? Why am I feeling this way? What is this feeling? What is this? Why doesn't this sound right? Right? You started to kind of, right? And so when you ask yourself questions, you're really asking your energetic field to reveal to you, what is it that I'm picking up that I just don't have the language for, that I just don't have the words for, right? But by doing that, by asking, by searching, by recognizing that your spirit is unsettled in something, demonstrates that you've acquired something. You've acquired knowledge in the situations where maybe you didn't catch on quick enough and you did get harmed, right? But it was all of those situations where you fell into a trap that prepared you for this most recent situation where you were delivered from. And when you called judgment, that is what triggered the divine salvation, or the divine deliverance, when you call judgment. So I feel like there are certain situations where you are supposed to walk in the trap. You are supposed to play along. You are supposed to go along with the flow because you need to understand what it is that you are up against, what it is that is up against you, what it is that has chosen you, what it is that has studied you. So in this specific situation, there was a person that wanted to offer you something, okay? Now you turned this shit upside down. You were like, okay, you're saying this is wealth, but when I use my wisdom, this is looking like trouble. Now this situation, we can look at this two ways. Either this situation was going to promise you, I have 6 of Pentacles, so it was going to promise you wealth or balance or fairness, an equal flow of abundance, an equal exchange, whether it was this person offering you something or this person and you come together and you can offer and receive whatever it is you deliver out to the community and whatever it is you receive back from the community. Whatever it is, this collaboration was supposed to give and receive. Now, I also have the energy of strength. And so we're talking about courage and self-confidence and willpower and self-esteem. Now, when I started to look at it this way, this person wanted to acquire something from you, right? So this person approached you because they were promised. They were promised that they would receive the strength. So there's something about your strength. There's something about your courage. And there are many ways to display strength. Sometimes strength is quiet, right? Sometimes strength is meek. But thinking that the meek is weak will get you fucked up, right? So you got to be careful with this strength thing. So there's something about you that has the ability to almost transform, right? So sometimes you can be a lion, but then other times you can be totally angelic, right? And what makes you a lion and what makes you an angel really depends on who's coming against you, right? But your strength is in your ability to control yourself. You understand how to control your own energy, because if you can tame a lion, you can also tame yourself. So you understand how to respond. You understand how to last. You can hold out. There's just something that you have that just won't go out. It doesn't end, right? And so many people would just say that's strength. And so maybe this person was after what it is that we would consider strength, right? Whatever that willpower, that force is that lives inside of you, it is that somebody may have wanted to convert to some type of abundance, right? Or oftentimes people say, if they had your strength, they would be able to do this, right? Or, if I were given this, I promise I could create this. Now, I have the energy of demons and evil spirits. So here's the victory and here's the clarity. So when you saw something in this person, you recognized it as being dark. Now, this is where I kind of got this little story or image to myself. In the season that we're in, when I think of spell work, I think of demons, evil spirits, I think of darkness. When people approach you already knowing that they are going to deceive you, it's almost like they want to walk into your house and turn off the lights, right? They don't want you to see where they are. They don't want you to see what they're doing. They don't want you to see their intentions. And so while the lights are off, they're casting all kind of illusions to keep you scattered and scared and weakened and afraid and right. And while you are in a state of crisis, they're fucking robbing you, right? They're keeping you outside of your empowered state so that they can do whatever they want to do behind the scenes, whatever the intention was that they set prior to entering your space. And so when I think of spell work, I think of somebody essentially wanting to turn your lights off. But here's the thing. When you have crossed paths with deceitful people or demons or evil spirits that have dwelled in the people that you have been in relationships with, at some point, it doesn't become anything that you're afraid of. It actually becomes something that you are familiar with. And depending on the type of life that you've lived, some of us have met demons and evil spirits in our infancy, when we were toddlers, right? It just depends on when darkness first entered your life. And if it's been in your life for a good 50 years, then sometimes when it shows up, it's really not as threatening as it hopes it is. And so that's what I'm seeing in this situation. Yes, you were delivered, but you were delivered because you applied wisdom. In order to rationally and logically apply wisdom, you can't be in fear. You can't be afraid. You have to be confident and bold and know that this is a situation, yes, that is uncomfortable, but it is one that I can get out of. And it is because you picked the right tool. You picked up the tool that said wisdom. That is exactly what you were supposed to use that triggered the deliverance. So why the toilet? So here's the thing. Many times, even as divine beings, you're going to make choices. Some of the choices that we make are going to put us in the shitter, right? They are literally going to put us in a place that we never really wanted to go. And so there are certain partnerships and connections that are going to put you in a very stinky place energetically. Now, the cute part is a toilet is white and shiny and clean. Many times our own purity and innocence and naivete, we get into connections with whole ass demons. But because everything is white and shiny, we're like, oh, this is heavenly. This is divine sent. You're in a fucking toilet. Yeah, it's white and shiny and clean, but where does this lead to? Right? Where does this lead? And so there's a level of grace and forgiveness that is offered to us because we truly lead with a pure spirit. And so when we are delivered, I feel like many times, we blindly walk into situations that look like we are almost sacrificing ourselves. But it is the purity of our spirit that has led us there. But it is once you are there that the true test begins. The test wasn't, did you go into the trap? No, fuck that. Go into the trap, right? You're there. But what do you do when you get there? That is the test. How do you respond? And so I don't know about you, but I've gotten into many toilets thinking that this thing was going to take me to the promised land. And I don't know where the hell I ended up, right? But this has happened again and again. Now, my intentions were pure. But I feel like spiritual credit starts to accumulate when you pick up knowledge, right? So it's like, damn, I'm in a toilet again. I don't want to be here. How do I make sure this doesn't happen again, right? So I'm holding myself accountable, but I'm also asking open-ended questions, right? How did I get here? What is familiar about this? What is familiar about this and something else I've been in, right? And so these are the conversations that you have to have with yourself when you recognize you are in an uncomfortable connection or situation, because this is how you start to break down and shed light on whatever it is that is attempting to turn your lights off, that is attempting to hide something or cloak something that you cannot see. Now, this situation that you saw through, you knew that if you took a leap of faith and if you invested in this connection in the way that was discussed, two things would have happened. You wouldn't have got your return, right? So anything you put in, you wouldn't have got it back, but it also would have been a form of a sacrifice because it was outside of your alignment. It was outside of your path. It was against your greatest or your highest good, right? But you were delivered because you had spiritual credit in the bank, which means we're not going to get in trouble for walking into fires, right? One, the purity of your heart. Why'd you get there? How'd you get there? What were you thinking when you went there, right? Were you only going because you were thinking about the wealth and the money? Were you only thinking about something carnal? Is that why you were baited into this connection or this situation? Or were you truly thinking that it was something that was going to be prosperous and fruitful and aligned, right? Nonetheless, when we are in these situations, there are certain times where God is going to reach in and just snatch us out the toilet. Right? But you have to be in the actual situation and, turn by turn navigation, responding in a way that demonstrates that you are empowered. You are not succumbing to the environment or to the experience, right? And so what was sent to sacrifice you essentially walk away and sacrifice it when you recognize that it is not deserving of your energy. Okay? And so I feel like once you go through a certain amount of dead-end relationships or empty promises, you acquire a certain amount of knowledge. And every time you get a little piece of knowledge, every time something breaks down, there's something for you to learn. So then when the next connection comes along, you've got wisdom, which means everything I just went through, I didn't like the way that felt. I don't want to go through that again. And so I am going to take what I learned and I'm going to apply it to my next experience in order to make sure that I can avoid some of the same pitfalls that I experienced, right? This is what happens. This is like real life. This is what we do. That is exactly what you did. You recognized that this was an evil spirit, an entity, or a demon that was sent essentially to get you to sacrifice self. Nobody can make you do anything. But if you are in agreement, if you drink from somebody else's cup, right? And if you offer them yours, that's fair game. That is fair game. But judgment was called. We have the hangman position, which means, I'm going to put myself on a pink slip. I don't like this, right? I need to suspend myself. I need to turn myself upside down. Anything I was thinking this was, I need to empty all that shit out and see what's really going on. That is what you did. It takes strength to do that. And once you did that, you gain clarity, enlightenment. The breakthrough happened and you could see it. I mean, we literally have the Ace of Swords and the Six of Wands. Like you saw it clear as day. I know what this is. I'm not doing this, right? I know what this energy wants me to do. Oh, here was the thing I got. So, grasshopper and a cockroach. This is what I think of when I think of demons and evil spirits, that are occupying vessels and entering into the lives of light ones, attempting to convince us that they are something they're not, right? And so they, demons and evil spirits, in my mind, I essentially call them cockroaches. They love the darkness. Now, here's the thing. When they come into your life, they're not going to tell you they're a cockroach. Of course not. Now, you're going to start to investigate. Oh, and here's the thing. When darkness likes to turn, yes, darkness likes to turn off the light. So imagine a cockroach comes into your house, turns off the lights, and tells you it's a grasshopper. And you're like, are you sure? Right? Because you can't really see it. So now you're sensing with your intuition. You're using other senses to try to determine is what this thing said it is, what it is. Right? And you're like, yeah, but I think those are wings. And he's like, no, these aren't wings. These are just my extra long legs. And you're like, okay, all right. Now you really don't vibe with it, but you just hold it. You're like, all right. Next thing. You see the cockroach eating. And you're like, wait, you're an herbivore? And he's like, well, yeah, why? And you're like, yeah, but grasshoppers are omnivores. And he's like, oh, no, yeah. The doctor put me on a diet change, so I just had to switch. But this is only for a period of time. And then you're right. I'm going to go back to my regularly sanctioned diet. Okay? You feel it. You hear it. You sense it. You know the shit is off. You're like, okay, all right. Well, here's the next thing. You're like, yo, your antennae are long as shit. Grasshoppers typically have short antennae. Like, why are your antennae so long? And he's like, dude, no problem. Like, I'm getting a haircut tonight. Like, they're clipping these things later. Like, not a big deal. They just grew. Time got away from me. I didn't have a time, I couldn't get them cut. Now, this is literally the stupidity that happens when dark entities attempt to convince you that there is something they're not. But it is only stupid if you can pick up on it. Right? It's not stupid if it works. It is only stupid if you can pick up on it and call it. And so being able to step away and to put yourself on pause, put yourself on time out, is a form of calling judgment. You've acquired enough knowledge and wisdom to be able to call a spade, right? And when you start to recognize that something is off, you allow yourself to feel this discomfort, and then you examine, you study, you question. Because guess what? Your divinity, your destiny is on the line. It is on the line. And so there was a connection that you may have you were delivered from, right? And so this was a connection that was sent to ruin you some way, somehow. We have no cups, but we have pentacles. So this may have wanted to ruin your foundation, ruin you in the earth somehow, okay? They came in offering a cup as if they were loving or caring or supportive or whatever, emotionally into you, right? That's what the cup appeared to be. But I have the energy of sacrifice, whether it be blood, animal, loved one, demons, evil spirit. No, you called judgment. Okay? And so you recognize that it was a cockroach lying, telling you it was a lucky grasshopper, that had all the abundance and all the fertility. No. And there are certain situations where you have to walk around in the dark with that cockroach because you need to study the energy. Right? And as soon as you know something's wrong, you turn on that goddamn light switch and you watch that roach run. That's how it works. But you got to go into the darkness to find the light switch. When they come in, they want to turn off your light switch so you can't see or sense or understand the messages that the spirit is trying to send you about what their energy truly is. Right? And so there was some form of deliverance. Listen, you ask me, the Most High has snatched me out of many toilets that I have gladly walked into thinking that they were, the promised land, the land of milk and honey. And it was a toilet. It was a toilet bowl, a clean one, shiny, but it was still a shitty place to be. Right? So I've been delivered from many. And in each one, just pick up a little piece of wisdom, a little piece of knowledge, and if you go through enough of them, you've got a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom, to be able to really call it, to see it, to sense it, and to not doubt. The most important thing is to not doubt yourself, to keep questioning, to keep sensing. And when you are going through the levels of investigation, you don't have to tell or ask anybody what you're going through. It doesn't have to be public knowledge that something's off or that you're feeling a certain way. No, you don't have to tell anybody anything. That's between you and spirit. That's between you and your vessel. It is a test for your vessel. Yes, I love y'all. This is a Friday message. I won't talk to you again until Monday. Have a great weekend. Later.